We were bored, sitting in Mark's dingy basement, half watching some old horror flick on the TV. The room was dark except for the bluish glow from the screen and the soft hum of his computer in the corner. Mark and I had done this 1,000 times. Killed time, smoked a joint, and watched whatever garbage we could find. But tonight was different. We were out of weed, and Mark had an idea. "Ever tried buying on the dark web?" Mark asked, his voice casual, but I could sense the excitement behind it. I shrugged. "Never needed to." "Don't you need, like, a special browser or something?" Mark grinned, pulling his laptop onto his lap. "Already got it. It's called Tor. Supposedly you can get anything there, drugs, guns, even hitmen." I laughed, trying to keep it light, but there was something unsettling about the way Mark's eyes gleamed in the dim light. "Dude, we just need weed, not a hitman." Mark smirked, his fingers already typing away. "Just wait, man. It'll be like Amazon, but for the sketchy stuff." He was half joking, but I felt my stomach twist as he navigated through the layers of anonymity. The screen turned black, and Mark typed in some bizarre URL, a string of random letters and numbers. It was like entering another world, one where the rules were different, and the shadows seemed deeper. A list of marketplaces appeared on the screen, each boasting whatever illicit goods you could imagine. It was a disturbing display of humanity's darker side. But we were only there for one thing. Mark clicked through until we found what we wanted, a vendor selling weed. "See? Easy," Mark said, scrolling through the listings like he was window shopping at a mall. We found a decent deal, a strain we both liked, and it was cheaper than anything we'd buy from the usual guys. It felt almost too easy, but when Mark clicked on the vendor's profile, his laptop screen flickered. The marketplace vanished, replaced by a live webcam feed. "What the hell?" I muttered, leaning closer. The feed showed a dark, grimy room, lit only by a bare bulb swinging overhead. In the middle of the frame was a woman sitting on a metal chair. Her hair was long and tangled, covering most of her face. She was rocking back and forth, but what really caught my eye was her smile. A twisted, too-wide grin that made my skin crawl. Mark frowned. "This isn't part of the site. I didn't click on this." The woman on the screen stopped rocking. She seemed to sense us watching. Slowly, she lifted her head, revealing more of her face. Her eyes were dark, almost black, and her smile grew wider, stretching unnaturally across her cheeks. She stared directly into the camera, as if she could see us. "Mark, get out of this," I said, my voice shaking. "This is messed up." Mark tried closing the window, but nothing happened. He clicked frantically, cursing under his breath. The woman continued to stare, her smile never wavering. I felt a chill run down my spine. It was like she was staring right at me, like she knew who I was. "Why isn't this working?" Mark muttered, now banging on the keyboard. The woman's smile grew even wider. Impossible, her lips stretching so far that I thought her face might tear. She started to laugh, a low, guttural sound that echoed through the speakers. I reached over and slammed the laptop shut, plunging us into darkness. For a moment, neither of us moved. I could hear Mark's breathing, rapid and panicked, matching my own. I fumbled for the lamp beside the couch and flicked it on. The room was still the same. Mark's basement, cluttered and familiar. But it felt different, like something was watching us. Mark opened the laptop again. The screen was blank, the webcam feed gone. He quickly closed the browser and shut down his computer. "That was messed up," I said, my voice shaking. "What the hell was that?" Mark shook his head, his face pale. "I don't know. It wasn't supposed to do that. It's like she was waiting for us." I laughed nervously, trying to shake off the unease. "Come on, man. It was just a glitch or something. Probably some troll messing with us." But I didn't believe it. Not really. There was something wrong with that woman. Something that felt too real. Too personal. I could still see her smile, burned into my mind like a brand. Mark seemed to agree. He was usually the one who shrugged things off, but now he looked genuinely scared. "Let's just forget it," he said, trying to sound casual. Forget the dark web. I'll text our usual guy tomorrow. We tried to go back to watching the movie, but it was useless. My eyes kept drifting to the laptop, and every creak of the house made me jump. I could tell Mark was just as rattled. He kept glancing at the screen, as if expecting the woman to reappear. We called it a night early. I headed home, trying to shake the feeling that I was being watched. I kept glancing over my shoulder, my heart racing at every shadow. When I finally got into bed, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that woman, her grin wider than any human's should be. The next day, Mark didn't text. I figured he was just busy, but when afternoon turned into evening, I started to worry. I called him, but there was no answer. By nightfall, I was pacing my room, convincing myself that it was nothing. Mark was probably fine, just needed some space after last night's weirdness. But then I got a message. It was from Mark's number, but the text was gibberish, a mess of random letters and symbols. I stared at it, trying to make sense of it, but it was like looking at a code I couldn't crack. I called him again, and this time, he picked up. "Mark?" I said, relieved. But there was no response, just a faint static on the other end. "Mark, are you there?" I heard a soft laugh, the same guttural sound from the webcam. My blood ran cold. "Who is this?" I demanded, my voice cracking. The laugh grew louder, and then the line went dead. I tried calling back, but now his phone was off. I didn't know what to do. My mind raced through 1,000 possibilities, each one worse than the last. I thought about going to his place, but something told me not to. Something told me that if I went there, I wouldn't like what I found. The next day, I still hadn't heard from him. I was half out of my mind with worry. I tried texting, calling, even reaching out to his parents, but they hadn't seen him either. I finally decided to drive over to his house. When I got there, his car was in the driveway, but the house was dark. I knocked on the door, calling his name. No answer. I tried the handle. It was unlocked. "Mark?" I called, stepping inside. The air was cold and the house was eerily quiet. I made my way to the basement, dread building with each step. When I opened the basement door, the smell hit me, a foul, rancid odor that made me gag. I hesitated, but then I saw it. Mark's laptop, glowing faintly in the darkness. I moved closer, my heart pounding in my chest. The screen was on, showing the same grimy room from before. But this time, the woman wasn't alone. Mark was there, sitting in the chair next to her. He was pale, his eyes wide and unblinking. His face was twisted into the same unnatural grin, stretching impossibly wide. I stumbled back, my mind reeling. The woman turned her head slowly, her eyes locking onto mine through the screen. Her smile grew even wider, if that was even possible. She raised a hand, and Mark did the same, mirroring her movements exactly. I ran. I bolted out of that house, not stopping until I was in my car, the door locked behind me. My hands shook as I fumbled with the keys, but I finally got the engine started and sped away. I don't know what happened to Mark, or who that woman was. I don't know why she chose us, why she was waiting. All I know is that I can still see her smile whenever I close my eyes. I can still hear her laugh, echoing in the back of my mind. And sometimes, late at night, I swear I see a faint glow in the corner of my room, like the light from a laptop screen. And I know deep down that she's still watching.